welcome everybody to another podcast of When Does the Fuckery End? I have a special friend here with me today that we're going to talk about, but until I do that, you know what we got to do first, Kyle, right?
Yeah, we're going to go through the list, right?
That's right. It's called semper5fund.org. Focus Marines helped me out a lot. Tunnels of Towers helped me out a lot. Joshua Chamberlain Society helped me out a lot.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi Fund. I already said them, didn't I? So
I
said
can't
them at the
remember,
beginning.
man.
But Warfighters Engaged, they rebuilt my equipment for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of people know that I play Xbox and all that and do that as well. So tonight we have a special guest with me, and his name is Brett Tate. And I really don't know how to introduce Brett Tate, except for I met him one time on a weekend with my friend that I was going to visit named Phil Crine, and I think we became best friends.
Was it at band camp?
I think it was at band camp.
It's always at band camp.
How you doing, Tate?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So tell me a little bit about your time in the service.
Oh, my current time. So I joined in late 2005. I came in, I think I was experimenting with marijuana my third time, because that's on my record book, right? I was watching the first Battle of Fallujah kick off in 2004, and experimenting with that marijuana, it led me to join the Marine Corps. Like, I was sitting there watching dudes kick doors in Fallujah, and I was like, man, I need to be there. So I went to the Marine recruiter's office, and I signed up, and he asked me if I was stoned, and I said absolutely. He said, man, you can't join high. You can't smoke weed in the military, all this stuff. And I was like, oh God, all right, well, give me 30 days.
Yeah.
And 30 days I came back, and we got all my waivers filled out, and then joined up, and then I think the end of 06 or 07, went to Ramadi, Iraq with 2-5.
Well, let me stop you right there. So you're telling me your life was all fucked up before you joined the United States Marine Corps?
Dude. Oh, yeah.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me your life was fucked up before you joined the United States Marine Corps?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially the infantry folk, we're not, high class or high society. I had just had a felony dropped down to a Class A misdemeanor while I was battling my third DUI. And yeah, my life wasn't going,
But how? Wait. For the listeners out there, you're probably going, holy shit. They're throwing a bunch of felons out there, because I've told my story too. And they're like, holy shit, they're throwing a bunch of felons out there. But listen to how our lives changed. And I want you to tell a little bit about your story about where you're at right now in life.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, I was going through all that, just downward spiral, right? And, fast forward in life, I mean, the military really gave me an opportunity, right, to not only be someone but to create a family, right, and own a few houses, get to experience friendships that I couldn't even imagine. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean, my friend. Know exactly what you mean. So let's go through a little bit about how you met me. What were your first impressions of me when you seen me and when we met?
Yeah. I think we were partying down Hollywood Boulevard, if I remember correct.
No, this was actually out in Hawaii when you and Crine were on the island still.
Oh yeah. That's right. We were partying in Waikiki.
Right.
What was it? Oh yeah, we went over to Phil's house where he was staying, and I think did I introduce you into
Tennessee
Jack
American
Daniels
honey?
Tennessee whiskey?
Yeah.
The honey.
Tennessee American honey. That was it, man.
I think we smashed that whole bottle and just got rowdy, and then we started fighting. Then we started around.
I have no arms and legs, and I'm just like fighting with them. I'm like,
Oh,
fuck
so
this.
this was after your accident?
Yeah, this was after my accident.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just going at it, and I was like, I knew I loved this guy at the beginning when I met him. I was like, wrestle me, bro.
The best part about that is I had one of my junior Marines with me. If I remember, because he was my DD that night.
Yes, he was.
And that dude was just sitting there scared shit the entire time.
I had that big old help. I had that big MC helmet on.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, there's a picture of me. I have it.
We have to get it.
There's a picture of me with a big MC helmet on in Waikiki, Hawaii. It shows me and I think him in it too. We'll have to put it on there for sure because someone was like, "Don't touch the MC's guy's helmet in the garage." And I went in there and I was like, "Fuck that!" And I grabbed it and put it on.
Yeah, what is he going to say to you?
Right,
What are they
exactly.
going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was a good time, you know. We polished off a bottle of Tennessee whiskey, some honey edition, and then we started doing what normal people just do.
Normal. Okay,
we just
I
fight
gotta
and just
stop you
roll
at
around on
normal
the ground,
people.
covered in mud and dog shit.
Mud and dog shit. Yeah, that's right. We were just rolling around in mud and dog shit. Woke up in a farmhouse.
Oh, you woke up in a farmhouse.
Yeah, it was Phil Krine's place. There was fucking cows outside. I was like, what the fuck?
Did you wake up in like a pile of hay?
No, it was like woke up in a farmhouse and then I looked outside.
They had like horses. And
Yeah,
stuff.
they had horses and cows and shit. And I was like, what the fuck?
I do remember this. Yeah.
Oh man. But anyway, okay, so buddy, tell me how the Marine Corps. Tell me about your daughter. Or not your daughter. Tell me about your family.
So yeah, dude, I went through what I think every infantry guy goes through, a few divorces, right? You know, we are in a place for a certain amount of time, and then maybe we go to combat or a deployment. We find a lucky lady that we just feel like we're not going to come back. So I think that makes us express some love towards people and get down on one knee like an idiot. But, you know, those are all trials through life. You know, you learn and you live through those. So after my second divorce of doing that, I kind of learned a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I met
We're all getting a little bit older. We all are starting to realize that it's like,
you know, you're just fist in
what's
this
it about?
in this world with this thing called life, you know. And so I met my now wife, right? And I did it right. I met her in Hawaii. We dated. I went on a deployment. Came back. We moved in together. I went on another deployment. You know, came back. She was there for me again. And then I bought a house, and then we moved in together. And we didn't get married until she was probably like 6 months pregnant with our first child. So, yeah, you know, we tested the water a little bit. I went on a few deployments, came back. She was still there. So, yeah, instead of just going on a deployment, getting down on one knee. So, yeah, it's been good. And now we have an 11-month-old son together. So
yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So I'm gonna bring up a topic right now. I think that a lot of people should know about, and that is veteran suicide. I had a bunch of clips on my phone of statistics from the 2023, actually from the VA, actual statistics from 2021. And what I'm wondering is why they don't have the actual statistics from 2023.
Probably
So
because they're not done.
that's the problem, and that's another thing I want to talk about is veteran suicide. The rates are so high, and I tried it myself in 2016. I also knew Brett at the time, and it wasn't a good time. Wasn't a good time. So I want to bring awareness to that. And Brett, I just want to know what your thoughts on veteran suicide are nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks because, like, you know, one, none of us are qualified in the mental health, right? Like, I'm not qualified to be a counselor. I'm there for you. You know what I mean? Like, but there was a period of time, I think during 2016, 2015, where it was like, you know, I'd hear about 2 people a week, you know, that I served with. And I think talking people off the ledge as much as I have, I would let it affect me a lot.
Yeah.
I think I would put a lot of emotion and everything into it. But you know, come to find out, you know, like, understand that. I mean, if as much as you talk to someone, if they're gonna do it, they're dead set on doing it, right?
Yeah, and that's hard.
You can't blame yourself, right, for
That's
that.
the hard
All you
part.
can do is move forward and, you know, make sure that you take care of their family, their loved ones, their kids, if they have any.
So
It,
it's all
and just
about
make sure that
helping one
they
another
know.
out.
What's up?
It's all about helping one another out because it's all we got is each other.
Right. Yeah, and unfortunately, like, you know, if you hear about another one, it's like you can't sit there and, I guess, wallow in your own self-pity, right? As much as I have,
Correct.
right, in the past. And I just, like, I just speak from experience through everything. And just sit there and, oh, I wish I would have called him more. I wish I'd have done this. I would have, you know, instead of doing that, focus more on, like I said earlier, like, helping out their families, you know, maybe setting up a GoFundMe, maybe doing whatever, 5K, whatever it can be, to honor that person's life rather than, you know, go into a deep hole yourself.
100% agreed. Couldn't agree anymore. I mean, I remember when I was in that dark place, and when I was in that dark place, that was a place I didn't want to be. It was unimaginable. Like, I had suicide hotline hang up on me. I don't speak about that very much because I don't want to bash the VA. I don't want people to think they can go to the VA. They can't go there, that they're not going to help because they have changed. But for me, the biggest part of going through that attempt was that I had to look my family in the eyes and realize that I could have changed all of their lives. And if there's one thing I can ever say, it is that there's someone out there that needs you, that always needs you. Like, as much as I know Brett right now, I know I could rely on him if I ever needed to call him if anything was down for that need. Someone out there needs you.
Any day or any night, you know?
So,
And it has to be on the individual. You know what I mean? Like, as males, as egos, and you know, society wants it, right? We're not. There's the alpha male personnel out there. Not a lot of people are going to call and ask for help.
The alpha male image needs to be maintained, which it really doesn't. You don't need to be an alpha male to ask for help. Alpha males need alpha males. So just because you're an alpha male doesn't mean
you got to identify that you have a problem and that you do need help. And some of that shit, as much as it is bad in the moment, it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better, and it's going to be a struggle. You know, getting that help.
Yeah, and this is where I want to go ahead and plug Focus Marines again, because I mentor there. I mentor there for guys with PTSD and that are going through issues through their Marine Corps career and going through issues through life and going through what they went through in the past. And it's opened up to you for free. You just have to sign into their website, which is focusmarines.org. And I'm telling you what, it's a program that'll make you look at life a little bit differently.
Yeah, and you got to have that want. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, as bad as shit is in your life, and as bad as shit has ever been in my life, I always, recently, I always just take a pause and I go, dude, in a year from now or 6 months from now, I'm going to be looking back at this time and going, oh, thank God I went through this, or thank fuck that I didn't give up. You know what I mean?
Right. Fuck yeah. Well, let's not end this on a sad note, like all the talk we've just been going through. How about we pull out some of those Would You Rather cards, Kyle?
Oh, man. I mean, we're still early in, man.
Oh, we're still early in?
Yeah, we're still
16 minutes in?
I mean, I don't really know much about this gentleman
You
here.
don't know much about Brett?
No.
All right, Brett, tell us a little bit more.
I mean, what do you even do in the Marines, Brett?
So right now,
I don't even know.
I've been a certified babysitter for adult children.
So are you a commander?
No, when he says certified babysitter, he means a fucking goddamn gunny.
Oh, he's a gunny.
Yeah. So I just got selected to Master Sergeant.
That's awesome.
Awesome, man.
And Master Sergeant for Marines is what rank? Is
Master
what?
Sergeant, that's E9 or 10?
E8.
E8. Okay.
Oh yeah, see, I'm all fucked up. I haven't been in a while.
That's for me. That'd be a senior master.
I run away from blobs like that.
Dude, I never thought that I would ever see that. But I have 2.5 years left of obligated service, and that's it, man. Like, I'll hang my hat. 20 plus years.
What I really want to dive into is that you're a Marine like me. And what have you seen through the Marine Corps years of going from E4 to E8?
God. You know, that thing that we always used to be taught, adapt and overcome, right? It was a term used. There's just, I try to explain it to my peers because, not gonna lie, we're all tired, right? Everybody that I've talked to that has been through a portion of what we've been through, we're just tired. We're tired, getting thrown through both wars, and just, that's it, on to the next thing. We aren't relevant anymore. But I think what I try to explain is in my short amount of time in 18 years, we've seen so much change, and just, we've had to adapt and overcome so much of that in such a short time that our brains are just, I don't want to say fried, because I still get up every morning and put my monkey suit on and go to work. But we're at a point in life where it's like, dude, there's the finish line. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, 100%. Bro, I know what you're talking about. Like, I was only in 4 years, but you've been one of those guys that inspired me when I first met you, that you were a leader like me. You were like a no shit, I'm not taking any shit kind of guy, and we're going to get shit done. And that's all leads back to the story you were telling us about earlier when, you had the felonies and the DUIs, and then you went to the Marine Corps and you changed. And
I gotta ask though, was it court ordered like Todd's?
Mine was not court ordered.
No, but also
Mine was not court ordered.
It wasn't court ordered, but they let you off because you were joining.
Not court ordered. I was already in ASVEP, and then something happened. You're fucking fired, Kyle. Anyway, we'll talk about that on a different episode. Don't worry, he gets fired every episode, Brett. So, what do you think about that? I mean,
Yeah, no, it was not. Yeah, no, I just contradicted myself. It was not court ordered. It was not court ordered. I did mention to the judge who had a metal hook for a hand. I remember this. Judge Meade. He was like, "You spit on the sidewalk, and a cop wants to take you in. I'm doing an extra 365 days just because, you know." And I'm like, dude, you know. And I think I just turned 18. But I did my felony that got dropped down to a misdemeanor, Class A, baby. So again, that's, you know, I was like, hey, I want to do the infantry. You know what I mean? Like, pew pew.
pew pew. Oh, nothing says better than that right there.
Oh man.
Dude,
Yeah, man, brother, you were just like me. But
dude,
we had a
telling you,
great
I
time.
wouldn't have joined. And back then they were taking in. I mean, we were at war, so they were taking. You got a felony? Fuck, no problem. Waiver, done. You failed the ASVAB? No problem. Waiver, done. Go ahead. Now it's so hard to get in.
Here's the problem: is I think that's what made us so good in that 30,000 surge through Marshall and shit that they didn't even know what to do because these guys were like, "Holy fuck!" They just took over half of Afghanistan in like 5 days.
We had a lot of street knowledge that we brought to the table. And a lot of people now have more of the brain and nerd knowledge, right?
Right.
Who haven't been in this fight, right? So it's
a very complicated world.
I'm seeing it I'm over at the School of Infantry, so
Bureaucracy.
We do make them fight each other, like stuff like that. Like it's getting a lot better. It is a lot better program than you and I ever went through. You know,
right,
way back. They're a lot more intelligent. They get hands on a lot of cool weapons. They get instead of getting yelled at all the time, their staff sergeant or sergeant is their squad leader throughout the whole infantry training course. So
wow. So there's a lot that's changed, huh? There's a lot that's changed then. So you stay with your drill instructor and all that?
What's that?
I said you stay with your drill instructor and all that?
The combat instructor.
Oh, okay.
So they'll get out of boot camp, and we try to kind of reprogram them into not, being robots the whole time. But then, with the whole construct of 2030, right? They want staff sergeants as squad leaders. When we were doing the shit as Lance Corporals, right? But they want staff sergeants as squad leaders, so either the staff sergeant or the sergeant combat instructor will have his group of, 14 to 16, and he will take them from T-Day 1 all the way to the end.
Okay. So, well, let's talk a little bit more about Brett and his deployments. When did you sign up? We already talked about why you signed up. We talked about that. But what years were you in and what wars? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man. So at the end of 2005 I came in, all the legal shit kind of settled, and I think I was supposed to go on I don't know if you remember a medley.
I do remember a medley.
Now, him and I were supposed to be on the buddy program, dude. I think he was in your and Phil's unit. Now,
we won't go first name until we figure out how far the story goes.
Yeah, that's why I got held back. He went on the East Coast. I went in and then stayed on the West Coast. But like I said, into 2005, and then because I graduated in 2004, so him and I were set up to go like right when we graduated. Then I wanted to bring guns around. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude,
zero no
you've
crap
got
at
the
all.
most similar story to me that I have ever met in my life as a person. Like, because this actually happened to me as well. My buddy Jimmy Ryan and me signed up together and we're like, you know what? I'm going to join the Marine Corps. And we both fucking made that pact right there on a bar stool. And he ended up having to go, and I got myself in trouble. And then I was like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to get in. And waivers happened 6 months later. I got in.
We fought the law, and the law won.
That's,
you know what I mean?
that's for sure.
The song doesn't lie, man. Yeah, I did. As soon as I got in, they were like, "Hey, welcome to the fleet, bitch.
Welcome to fleet, bitch.
We're going to Ramadi, Iraq." And we were like, "Okay."
Ramadi. So your first deployment was Ramadi.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's a
we
rough
went
one.
to Ramadi, and then we went on a Mew after that.
Slow down. Tell us about Ramadi. I mean, I'm not asking graphics. I'm not asking. Tell me what a day would look like for Brett Tate and Ramadi.
Ramadi was pretty crazy the first few weeks, and then my unit 2-5, we locked that fucking city down. So we started a thing, and every place that we took over in Iraq, it was from an army unit, and I remember these guys were like, "We don't even go there on in vehicles."
Right.
And my squad leader's like, "Cool, check it. We're going there on foot, like tomorrow. We need you guys there." And they're like, "We're not fucking going with you." And like I didn't understand it then. I kind of look back at it now, and it's like, I lived where bullets hit the building, out in the middle of a town for 6 months, right? I think that is long enough. But you look back at the Army, and the Army has these 14-month deployments. Oh, well, guess what, bitch? You just got extended to 22 months. And you don't really see that. But we were going crazy. I mean, 6 months of that. But
well, can I cut you off right there?
Yeah.
That's where the Marine Corps and the Army differ, in my opinion, is because we go hard 9 months, they go hard half of 14 months. And that's what I like to say, is because I'm not dissing on the Army, but in the middle of their 14 months, they got a break and they got to go do a vacation or a stay for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they come back. We were grounding and pounding for 9 months straight.
And I've heard it in other places, like, I mean, it wasn't WW2, man, where it was like,
no, nothing like that.
Years, you know what I mean? Like, you're fighting to survive. You know what I mean? They would. It was weird, man. Like, the Army was really good at that time, WW2, and I think Vietnam's where they kind of fell off a little bit. And in Iraq, it was. Anytime we worked with them, it was like, dude, I don't want to do this. They were more or less shooting at anything.
Yeah,
and they didn't want to go out. So we took over Ramadi, did a few weeks of just building to building clears 24/7. We had 2 foot patrols out, 2 separate foot patrols, and it was a grind. And we locked that fucking place down. 2-7 was up in Karma, Iraq, right by Fallujah. So they needed support because they were getting KIAs and wounded every day. So I like to think we were the better company. Gulf. We went up there about midway through deployment, went over there, attached ourselves to 2-7. So we got in Humvees. We drove from Ramadi to Camp Fallujah on Route Mobile. And, we had the Frankenstein vehicles, the high backs with all the welding on it. That was just popping RIP fuel. and chasing it down with Rippets.
Rippets.
Dude,
Now, hold on. For those in the audience that don't know what Rippets are, there was these little cans of what they called energy drinks, and I think they were made by the government. I'm not sure.
They supported the war, yeah.
And they came in like little 8 to 12 ounce cans, and you just opened it up, and it was like, raw, give me a Rippet.
Yeah, you didn't shotgun it.
Yeah, we didn't shotgun that Rippet.
It's like 3 gulps and it's done.
Right.
And back then we had the good Rip Fuel that had the what was it? The epinephrine in, like the shit that wasn't they didn't like, the FDA didn't come in and they were like, oh shit, this is like meth. So we had that shit. We were popping that and just on the go.
Yeah, Rip It Fuel, man. Oh,
dude,
shit. Go Rip It Fuel.
So we got up to Karma, and what I've learned is Karma was more or less the city that the Fallujah fighters would practice their tactics in.
Right.
So Karma was pretty bad. I think the day 2 we were there, the Army guys, again, the mech dudes, they were making fun of us because, and I'm a boot, so it's like, and we're out in the middle of the town where we've taken over a Haji house, and we're living out in the middle of the town doing a rip with the Army, a relief in place, and we had 2 buildings out there. My platoon was in a lone building, and we were going to get MREs from the other building. Well, if you went to go get MREs, if you stepped out of that door, if you went to the porta shitter or wherever, went to go take a water bottle shower out back, you were in full PPE, like glasses, gloves, helmet, vest. So the Army's out there, I remember this, they were playing football, and they were shirtless, right? They just had their BDUs on, throwing the football around. They were making fun of us, and they were like, why are you guys walking from building to building with all that gear on? And I was like, and it's 120 degrees. So, it's like summer fighting season.
What happens?
And we were like, no disrespect, man, but like, didn't you just have a dude shot in the throat, like right over, like right here in our little combat outpost? And they were like, yeah, Doc so-and-so, he was a good dude, blah, 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 blah. Well, just then, about 20 seconds later, 2 RPGs go over, and then just we get hit with PKMs from 3 directions, just attacking our camp. And we were just like, oh, shit,
For those who don't know what a PKM is, that is an automatic machine gun that throws 7.62 rounds down range faster than you could even blink an eye.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but, like that, and that I think, really tore us apart, and it distinguished us between the Army, right? Like, there were areas where they wouldn't go anywhere in vehicles. We were on foot.
That was you can say the same thing about Afghanistan. Like, once the Marines got into Afghanistan, they did not want anything to do with the Army or with the Marines. They would only fight the Army.
Yeah,
just by the difference of the uniforms. You can attest to that, can you not?
Yeah, it was something distinguishing. But there was, the Taliban fighters would, in Afghanistan, would distinguish between us, and they would not want to fight us compared to the Army. So
yes,
that shit's over ICOM chatter. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you hear that all day long. Nope, it's the Marines. Fuck that. You got a Terp with you on ICOM chatter, man. They hear that shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is why I've been talking about why I love you so much, is because you were a straight up squad leader like I was. What was your first squad like, and how did you run it?
Oh, dude. Come on, spill it. Those dudes, but kind of not. Because I was very hard on those guys. Back then, we didn't really give them the whiff 'em, we call it, the what's in it for me. It was do this or you're gonna fucking die in war. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I was brought up, except for the fact our senior guys were like OIF 1 and 2 dudes.
Yeah.
So they just beat the shit out all the time. We didn't beat the shit out of our guys.
Exactly.
We would explain to our guys.
We trained them
a little bit more, but it was still death runs and like you were in top-notch physical shape. But this is what I expected to do. I think Bethesda. When I went to visit one of my guys, I was his squad leader. I was a squad leader in 2011. On my 4th deployment, we did the 31st MU when the tsunami hit Japan. And then we were on our way to Korea. We stopped in Malaysia, and it was my birthday. It was my 25th birthday. We turn on the TV because we're going to go out and party. And my buddy's taking a shower. I turn on the TV, and this fucking tsunami is just smashing Japan. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, boys, let's go. We got to get our drinks in. So we go downstairs. We start drinking. And the Navy, of course, some dudes from Shore Patrol come up. And they're like, y'all been recalled. Get back on ship. So we're like, fuck. We're trying to slam all these drinks. And anyway, we floated to Japan, where we picked up after the, dug bodies out of the mud, all that stuff after the tsunami in 2011. And my team leaders, I pointed over my team leader as a team leader from a dude who had 3 combat tours. He was a corporal. He had 3 combat tours, and this dude was worthless, dude. And I appointed a boot on that deployment, a junior guy, as a team leader over him. And I explained it to like the senior dude, right? I was like, hey, we need to give him a shot. He's going to be around. You're not, blah, blah, blah. So both parties, you know what I mean? And then I pulled that Lance Corporal, who I got meritorious promoted to corporal on that deployment. He was my go-to, right? My A/. I was like, he's worthless. Stick by me. I need 3 mini-me's so that you guys can formulate 12 mini-me's, right? So
I gotta stop you for a minute because I'm over here trying not to laugh to myself because this is exactly the shit that I did. I was like, these 2 fucking seniors are worthless. I got a combat boot that I'm about ready to promote to fucking team leader because I trust him and I understand that he knows what the fuck's going on. So I get it.
Dude, and I'm telling you, man, like those are the decisions you have to make, and you can't just outright look at the dude, the corporal already, and be like, "You're worthless." Sometimes you can, but also too, I need to turn my back, and in front of the other men, if that junior guy gives him an order, he better follow it. So you gotta kind of read the situation.
Trust me. We know you got to play the lines. You got to play the good guy, bad guy.
You got to play
good cop, bad cop.
But dude, I remember that dude took over a squad in Afghanistan. They went to Afghanistan the next tour. I left and went to be a combat instructor, which I tried to fail out of combat instructor school to go back to Afghanistan with these fools. But that was a whole different thing, right? Like, I had to tell myself I prepped these dudes to the fullest. So anyway, that guy that I was telling you about, my A/, steps on an IED. I automatically drop what I'm doing. I fly out to Bethesda, and I walk in, and of course, me being me, I'm like, hey, I got that shrimping boat. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to be my first mate? You know what I mean?
Lieutenant Dan?
Dude, he tells me, he's like, He's like, Sergeant, he's like, I did what you trained me to do. He's like, after I stepped on the bomb, he's like, I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I just started putting on my own tourniquets. And I was like, I think I got to go get my luggage outside, and I'm like, I'm damn proud of you, boy. Like that was something that I think mentally I went through that I was like, oh shit, like, and not only that, but like his parents and stuff, his family was there. I took his family out to dinner. And they were like, thank you for saving my son's life. And I was like, ma'am, like, I wasn't even there. And they're like, the shit that you trained him to do, you know what I mean? And I think that's where like I stepped back and I was like, damn. So I think that's the better story of like what I expected out of my dudes, right? Like, and them actually applying it in real time.
It's amazing,
and of
though.
course, the kid was wearing GoPro, right? So, of course, he sent me the video. And it like, to the T, like, he did exactly what I trained those dudes to do, But I felt shitty because I wasn't with them. And I felt like I should have been with them.
And that can be a hard pill to swallow. And that's where I think a lot of the veterans that, Phil Crime, that we served with, they were on a MU before our Afghanistan tour, and they kind of trained us when we went to Afghanistan, and shit got fucked up, and they regretted. So there's that out there too. There's that regret of not going with the men that you kept going with, but you got a career and things are moving ahead. So it becomes one of those things of when do we get to have the bureaucracy to say we're done with this shit? I'm tired of watching other young men do this.
Right. And to be honest, like never. Any of us that went through the shit, I don't think we ever will.
Nope.
But I can tell you from my time in Iraq to Afghanistan, right, where you're in Afghanistan now, you're a senior Marine.
Right.
We went in 2009. We did the push through the Helmand province, and nothing was fucking taught. And
No.
I always give my SEAL buddies a hard time, right? Because I'm like, dude, you guys get all the intel. You guys are back at base camp or wherever, Leatherneck, fixing your beards. And I go, everything about this dude, right? That I live next to, his family, everything about this guy, his family, his past. And I was like, I know nothing, but he's got dirty hands at some points, like
Correct.
I think he's.
We know what the fuck's up, and you got all this intel, and I got to kill him before you.
And the best part is we get this little pamphlet that has do's in green letters and don'ts in red letters. It's like, all right, thanks, buddy. And they're like, go out there and get them, give them hell. Like, give me rounds.
Give me rounds. Hey, Gunny, I need another RPG. I'll get that down to you real quick, nicely.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. And it's crazy because the war had been going on since 2001, right?
Right, dude.
And 8 years down the road, we didn't get told shit.
No.
Our training for that deployment was all Iraq-based.
Yeah, it was all Iraq-based, everything.
All tactics from Al-Qaeda.
We were,
right?
we were in trench warfare, my friend.
You're still sitting there. I think Bin Laden is the leader of Al-Qaeda. Really, like, you do your research, and it's Mullah Muhammad Omar at the time, right? All these things that I researched after I went on deployment, and I think that's what I stress to these guys. But all the Iraq veterans treated that war like it was Iraq. And then we get there, and we got fucking destroyed. We got beat up. We got beat up day after day. And it was like, oh, shit. All right. Change my tactics. Let's do this.
Yeah, you had to change shit on the fly.
On the fly, dude. And it
was playing backyard paintball.
Iraq, it was we own the night. In Afghanistan, it was like, you're not moving at night.
They don't move at night, no. No, they sleep they go to sleep at night. But in the daytime, you better believe they're fucking coming at you in their cornfields and their motorcycles and dropping shit off in the field. Like there was no like he said, there was no tactics for this. There was just guys driving into cornfields, running to mud holes, pulling out guns, shooting, and then jumping back on their motorcycles and taking off. And we were in trenches 200 meters apart from each other from the canals and Charlie Wilson's War and all that bullshit.
Well, that like we didn't know anything about tunnel systems, anything like that,
Right.
man. Like we just thought we were fighting ghosts, man. And like,
Yeah.
And you got to think, like you're fighting an enemy on opium and adrenaline, right? Like, give me that, I'll take a K-bar to a battalion, dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
they're all
we're
drugged
sitting there
up
on
and
adrenaline.
What a place.
But, yeah, I remember my first gunfight in Afghanistan. I looked at my, we start taking contact. I identify where they're at, and I said, buddy, team rushes. And I remember my Lance Corporal looking up at me, was just like a face of like, what? Like, this is real? And I'm like, let's go, bitches. And I used to stand up to provide the enemy a target to shoot at. Because I train my dudes to shoot when they have a target, such as myself, they will expose themselves. That's when I need you guys to fucking take well-aimed shots.
See,
and I remember looking at these dudes, and they were buddy team rushing us, and I was like, holy shit! They were using the same tactics we were about to start using, and I was like, this is on a different level, dude. Like, this is.
Well, that's the problem is they watched us fight in Iraq. They were trained to fight against us, and they had weapons that we had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, like, you got to think, like, the funding. I don't know too much about the heroin trade, right? But, like, from the documentaries I've watched, motherfuckers get rich from it. You know what I mean? Like, so think of, 90% of these dudes are growing. They got money just buried in caches of heroin, and I remember meeting this bearded dude there in Afghanistan, and I was like, I'm thinking he's like fucking DevGru, SEAL team, whatever, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm an agriculturalist. And I'm like, what? He's like, we're here to teach him to grow corn and
grow corn and wheat.
Good fucking luck with that, asshole.
Good fucking luck with that is exactly right.
How much can I get
corn
for
and
a
wheat.
fucking pound of corn?
Yeah, this motherfucker doesn't want to grow any
pound of
wheat.
Fucking hash, dude.
Right, this dude's getting paid off of fucking heroin. You think he wants to grow corn?
Fucking black tar, man.
Yeah. But the agriculturist.
I tell you, man, like I was in the middle of a firefight once. And I looked at one of my junior guys, and I go, "Hey, you know anybody doing it back home, banging H?" And he's like, "Yes, Corporal." And I was like, "Isn't it fucked up that somehow they're funding this war?" And he was like, "What the?" And I just saw his mind just like trigger, and I was like, "Well, see you out there, kid." And
oh fuck. Man, Brett, you remind me so much of me because we ran at the same time. But the way we ran, I think that's why we fell in love with each other when we first met each other, because we just run the shit the same way, man. Like, it's just like, hey, I'm going to take this one for the team, but you motherfuckers better know where the fuck it's at.
Yeah, dude, like, I'm telling you. Dude, yeah, it was a very intense time, and and unfortunately, we learned a lot back then, especially was either KIA or wounded.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we're not doing that again. Or don't do that. And then the moment we've changed, they would change.
Yeah.
And you had to stay on top of it and realize, I remember being in some parts of Afghanistan where I could walk in a line with one person with a metal detector out front, and the other part
curve.
Because, and that could have been the same day once we crossed this line, because the leader of the Taliban in this part has come up with a new way, pressure release, and all right, well, they know that they've watched our tactics, because during relief in place during the rip with a different unit. They test them and they watch. All right, they take cover in that berm. Cool, 12 IEDs in that berm. We'll put a dummy one in the road.
Right.
But yeah, you had to identify it, and you literally had to change game plan like on the spot.
You could never do the same thing twice.
No.
That was the problem. Was you could never do the same thing twice. If you did the same thing twice, bad things were going to happen.
Yeah. Yep. I had two, because I was the only one in the platoon that had Oakley boots, right? And we punch out, and the EOD tech was like, "Hey, suicide, come here," and over the radio, and I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "Hey, check out your boot print," and I was like, "What about it?" And he's like, "Check it out. There's an IED right there," and I had two of those where we dug them up. One of them, they didn't start weatherproofing them yet. So one of them, rocks had gotten in between the saw blades.
Yeah.
And then the second one, the battery pack had corroded over. Mm-hmm. And then every time we saw after that, it was wrapped up in a trash bag.
Oh, man.
And it's like, dude.
The only reason I say "oh man" is because I remember finding a few of these just like that, man. I'm telling you, this was crazy. This is why I love this man. He lived my life the same way I lived it.
It was intense.
Like, he wasn't even part of my squad, but the way he lived through his shit, the way he tells it, was exactly how I would have done it.
Yeah. It's just nothing changes, dude. I will fast forward through some different. I think I did 3 or 4 other floats on Muse, and then the last deployment I did was the last deployment I did. So my 7th deployment. Half of it was in Iraq, in Baghdad. So I went from living in a mud hut out in the middle of the town to the embassy, where I had a big size fridge. I had a recliner chair. I had Wi-Fi, and I think that really helped my wife and my kid, my 4-year-old now.
4 now.
What's that?
I said, 4 now.
Yeah, she's about to be 5 in July. But seeing her every day, and then of course I would call Phil and all the guys, and I'd be like, "Hey, dude, I'm living rough here," and they'd be like, "Is that a dishwasher in the background?" I'm like, "No."
So you got the Air Force treatment.
Bro, I got a taste of that life and get paid as a gunny in combat pay.
Kyle was Air Force veteran, so.
Dude, hey, I was much.
He's bowing down, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you don't know. You can't see it, we can. He's giving the bow down signal. But anyway, bro, we're getting close towards the end, and there's a thing I like to do called Would You Rather.
I was gonna wrap it up. My bad. I'm sorry to cut you off. Half of that was in Iraq, and then the other half was doing the Afghan withdrawal.
Yeah.
So I was in Kabul at the Abbey Gate when the suicide bomber detonated. So that was a shitty way to end, I think, the last 20 years of war.
Yes.
And then my battalion, we took 10 KIAs. So I brought those dudes back home.
So you've been through a lot more than the last time I talked to you.
What's that?
I said, so you've been through a lot more than the last time I talked to you.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It was definitely some... I think out of that, and I was only in Kabul. We were only in Kabul for, like 2 weeks. I would venture to say that was my roughest deployment. Just those just those few weeks there and getting people out and how fucked up everything was, I think that's shit that I'm still dealing with to this day. And I mean, I think it's been 2 years at this point. But yeah, that was rough. And it was a rapid redeployment. So I was in Kabul one night, Kuwait the next, and then San Diego. I was walking through the San Diego airport with blood still all over me. So it was like, fuck, here I am. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not trying to cut you off again, but see, ladies and gentlemen, the people that are listening to this, that are veterans, and the ones that aren't, that are civilians, see what the men and women that fought for this country go through. I mean, do you understand what sacrifices that are being made, what the way that you felt about yourself after doing some of these things? It's alarming, and that's why I think that, like I said, I'm going to say it again, but focusmarines.org, that's the place I would go check out, because like I said, it changed my life.
Yeah.
But so would you want to do some would you rathers with me, buddy?
What is it?
Would you rathers? Like,
sure.
do you remember did you ever do that on the radios? Would you rather on the Black Ear? No? Okay. My buddies did it with me all the time, and I'd be like, get the fuck off the Black Ear. But they'd always be like, would you rather marry, fuck, kill Rosie O'Donnell?
Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Let's go, bring it on.
No, these are cards. So these are cards, actual printout cards.
Oh,
so they're
like
a little easier.
PG-13.
They're a little easier.
Less military, you know, not as
not as vulgar.
not as vulgar.
But we can go there if you want. I'll think up something real quick.
No.
Okay. Would you rather have a set of 6 milk-producing cow udders under your chest, or have someone snip your Achilles tendons with garden shears?
Ooh.
And I have like seconds to answer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And why?
I'd do the udders for sure.
Yeah? Why is that?
I mean, I'm not messing. Achilles, man. Like that's I'm good. Nothing wrong with titties on your chest.
Fuck no.
Milk-producing titties.
Milk. I'm with him on the milk thing.
I'm not going thirsty.
I'm with him.
Hey, cookies with that milk?
I'm with him on the milk thing.
I mean, if anything, you could just be, was it like one of the freaks at carnivals?
Right.
You know?
Who wants to hose my nipples? All right, next one.
Okay, next one. Let's see.
He's fumbling. He's got it.
Would you rather write a death threat to the president and mail it to the White House with your return address, or introduce your most recent ex to every new significant other you date?
Oh, dude. The most recent ex.
Oh, man, I'd rather just write a death threat to the president.
Yeah, me too.
Fuck that dude.
Have to introduce every ex to the next significant other person? They're gonna tell.
I told my girl the other day. I was like, man, we should call our exes up and just be like, look how we're living now.
No, that's not the way I look at it. I look at it as, oh, this bitch gonna say some shit on me.
Oh, dude, I'd say it's me though. You know, it's you.
Right?
Why do they not? You know?
Yeah, the old Snapchat days.
Do I get another?
Do you want
another?
This one's kind of easy.
He said, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
I know. That's exactly what I heard. Would you rather put your hand in a blender and turn it on, or find a video of your parents on a BDSM porn site?
Ooh.
What was the first one again?
Put your hand in a blender and turn it on?
Well, I would rather do that.
What's wrong with fucking, dude? You know, and like that's, I'd look back at that and the video and I'd be like, I wonder if this is when I was created. You know what I mean?
How old is this video?
Yeah, maybe what you do after is,
Yeah. Man, wait a minute. I just witnessed my birth.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
All right, buddy. Hey, man, I'm going to let you go. It's been good talking with you, and you know I love you.
Yes, I love you guys as well. Now you.
We're going to go ahead and call this the end of the episode.
Well, what about any closing thoughts for you?
Oh, what? Okay. What is your most memorable thought of Todd Nicely?
Oh, what's your favorite Todd Nicely story?
Okay, yeah. What's your favorite Todd Nicely story?
We already talked about it. I think us just rolling around is probably one of my favorites.
And what was it? Mud and dog shit. Yeah.
To go off of that is just like how much your life has been shitty, right? But also too, like, how much of an inspiration you've been to others, myself included. You know what I mean? Not to, like, suck you off at the end, but
hey, buddy.
Hey,
you can anytime you want.
Hey, did he mention? No. You know, he told me when he was about to call you, he said that you were his hero.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's literally what he said to me.
We're all each other's heroes.
You are, buddy. You're my hero. Because you know why? Like I said, every story I think that's why we got along so well that night was we were telling stories and fucking every one of yours was exactly like mine. And I love you for it, buddy. But then we wrestled to decide whose was worse, and I don't know if that was a good idea.
I don't care if you got any arms or legs. You still wrestled and just.
All right, good sir. You have a good night, buddy.
All right, guys. Thank you for the call.
Hey.
And I look forward to the podcast coming out.
Yep. Love you, buddy.
Love you guys.
Peace out.
Hit in.
All right. Well, we're still recording. Do you want to do closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts?
Yeah.
If I had any closing thoughts on that, I would say, you know, he told it all. He told the story of every veteran that was doing what they were doing, and we all relate to it. So if there is any veteran out there struggling, find help.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone out there. And that, I think that's the closing thoughts that I have for that. What about yourself?
I mean, I would definitely agree with you. I would like to say that, like what you guys were saying, you know, there is somebody that needs you out here. Always.
100%.
There is always at least one person that will miss you when you're gone. And when you are gone, it is just you being selfish at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know if we go the selfish word.
I know, but
maybe we'll hold that for the next episode.
Fair enough. Okay, well, if anybody has any emotional or concerns, comments, emotional outbursts, they can always contact us on Instagram, YouTube. I don't think we have a Facebook yet. I mean, know. But you could just email us at whendoesthefuckeryend@gmail.com. I mean, shit.
Yeah, we'll answer your calls.
Emails.
Well, emails. Yeah. You know what I mean. If you leave a phone number, maybe we'll give you a call. See what's going on.
Exactly. Did you want to mention something about cakes or, you know, beef?
Cakes.
Brittany's?
Oh. No, we can't.